As Nigeria celebrates the 25th anniversary of democracy and continues on the journey, it is important to reflect on the drawbacks and progress the country has made so far. To this end, the CTV spoke with Hon Bamidele Salam of Ede North, Ede South, Federal Constituency of Osun State on Nigerian democracy and how well it has thrived.
My name is Bamidele Salam. I represent the North and the South Egbedore Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State in the House of Representatives. I'm also the chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts in the House of Representatives. Let me start with the 25 years of democratic rule from 1999 till date. It's been a mixture of the good and the bad, the ups and the downs. Let me start from the good. The good is that we have greater freedom than we used to have during the military. There is greater respect for fundamental human rights. There is a greater space for people to express themselves, both in terms of their thought, in terms of their perception, in terms of even divergence of views from the official position of governance, which was not something very common in the military. The other good thing also is that the institution of the parliament, which is the most symbolic representation of democracy, has been sustained for 25 years, unbroken. It never happened since our independence in 1960. When coup d'etat happened, the executive remained, the judiciary remained, but the legislature, goes off, is put in abeyance. So the fact that we're able to have these institutions is very good. We have also been able to use those institutions for the advancement of, some democratic practices, which are ordinarily would not have been entrenched without democratic governance. But having said that, it's also good for us to be very truthful with ourselves. Yes, democracy is not just about building roads and bridges. It's about also giving people hope to a better life. And the question the average man will ask himself is whether, he has a better life now than he had 25 years ago, or that he had 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. The man in Kebbi State, the man in Zamfara, the man in Borno, the man in Enewe will ask themselves whether they had more security, whether they are more secured now than they were secure 25 years ago. And if you ask those questions truthfully, you will come to a conclusion that certainly the answer is no. So many things have gone wrong. We have nosedived significantly in terms of our ability to provide the basic things of life and guarantee peace and security as a country. I was with a colleague of mine this morning with whom we schooled together in Sokoto State in the 70s and early 80s. And we were talking about what the situation was like then, where you could travel at any time of the day between Sokoto and Lagos. Of course, it was even not an option for us to fly then, in any case. And then you sleep, you have the night on the road, you have all manner of things on the road with very, very little or no threat to your personal safety and security. That doesn't happen again any longer. We have a country today where a Nigerian in one part of the country cannot freely travel to another part of the country with his family, for a holiday. In Nigeria where, businesses cannot thrive in a place only because you are not from that place. Now, that is not the vision that our founding fathers have, and that's not the vision, that we have of what democracy is all about.
Speaking on the president's 1 year in office, Hon Bamidele applauded the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's efforts, especially on the areas of policies. He expressed need on the executive to have a second look at the ministers. He further calls on the need for women inclusivity.
And from even the future generation, which we have not been able to accomplish. Now, speaking about the current administration headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like I said also earlier today in an interview, I want to commend him for his courageous leadership. He has actually shown courage because leadership entails a lot of courage. There are decisions that as political leaders we run away from taking because of the likely backlash. But they are necessary decisions, like trying to inject a child who has malaria. The injection process is very hard. There are a lot of decisions that he has taken which to me are very, very essential decisions and which previous administrations have shied away from for one reason or the other. And I want to commend him for that courage. I also want to commend him for keeping the country together in spite of all the polls. You know, the last election was very contentious. For certain reasons, also the subsequent election into governorship positions, many of them ended in court. And by the way our system is wired, the president is a very powerful person. The office is so powerful that even though we talk about the independence of the judiciary, the president, if we want to be very honest with ourselves, has a way of maybe having his way, as it were, concerning what goes on in the judiciary. But if you look at the pattern of the judgment given by the Supreme Court, it went a long way to stabilize Nigeria. And I'm particular about states like Plateau, states like, Plateau in particular, a few other states like Abia State, where the Labour Party won, Plateau, where the PDP won, and a few other states like that, which, and Kano, Kano is even the most tempestuous of those states. And you saw what happened in the election in Kano with the NNPP. But the first two courts, for some reasons, gave a decision that was clearly against the weight of evidence in court. Now, the president being able to maintain neutrality and allowing this arm of government to perform, it may not look as a big deal to some, but it's a very big deal because I know the consequences that will have followed, if the prior decisions, had been upheld by the Supreme Court. It's been able to keep the country together. Now, to the more important purpose of governance, of leadership, which is to drive development and growth. I will say 1 year is not enough a time to assess how well we have done in that regard. And I want to be very fair to him. I had myself occupied public offices apart from the one I'm occupying today, and I know how tough it is when you are starting off in an executive position. And so we have not seen so much of those impacts in terms of driving the growth of the country, but he has proven to be somebody who is very courageous and who will be willing to do the right thing. And we want to encourage him to please be more focused and also to be more critical of his team. He has a team of the Federal Executive Council. He should be able to sit down now and assess after 1 year whether he has gotten the best from each of those ministries that he has, assigned people to. There are many of the ministers that you don't even know what they are doing. You don't even hear their name. Yes, they may not be, some people may be publicity shy, but that's what we're talking about. The effect of what you are doing and the way you communicate what you are doing also matters. A lot of them are just occupying the space. They are not doing anything. And there are a few others that are making very profound impact in governance that we should also commend. But on the whole, personally, I think almost 60 to 70% of those who are ministers today are just occupying the space. I don't really know what they're doing. I think the president should use this occasion to evaluate them and be courageous enough to tell those who are too tired, too weak, or too dysfunctional to work to go home and replace them with more vibrant, young and productive persons, regardless of politics. We have Nigeria is blessed. We have so many good hands all over the country that you can bring on board in the cabinet and fire the Federal Executive Council. These are some of the observations or comments I have on the first anniversary and 25th anniversary of our unbroken democracy. Yes, like the honorable member from Lagos said, Kafila Tobara, I believe that in the area of inclusion of, I don't want to call them minorities, but disadvantaged members of the public, as a country as a whole, we have not done very well. I had cause to speak on the issue of inclusion of women in the place of governance, but also of persons living with disabilities and some other disadvantaged members of this society. But it's also a product of where we are coming from. We have a society that is so patrilineal and that is wired in a way that puts women at an economic disadvantage. And politics also involves certain level of economic empowerment. I think that what we should do as a country is to be deliberate about this issue of inclusion, deliberate in terms of our laws, deliberate in terms of our policies, deliberate in terms of the advocacy that we take. It is not a good thing that you have a parliament of 360 members, and I'm not sure we have over 10 members who have. I can't remember the exact number now, but I'll be shocked even if they are up to 10 who are women in the parliament of 360 members. And it has to start from somewhere, and there's no better time than now.
Comfort Olayinka, the CTV News.